Taped from New Jersey, it's the SNL Nerds, the show where two comics from New Jersey nerd out about Saturday Night Live. I'm your co-host, John Trouble.
And I'm your co-host, Darren Patterson.
Ooh, we both took a little pause there.
I know, I saw you did it, and I followed suit.
That looks like fun. I'm going to do that too.
Yes, I'm going to steal his style.
Yeah. So, how are you doing, Darren?
Doing good. The summer months are treating me well. I'm phoning it in live via satellite here, and just maxing and relaxing outside of the school. It's pretty great.
We realized when we were talking, we're actually our tagline this week. It's a bit of a lie. We're both in upstate New York this time. I think this might be the first time that neither one of us has been taping from New Jersey.
Yeah, sorry. We want to be honest with you, listeners. Yes, neither one of us are in Jersey right now. We don't lie to our people.
But our hearts are in New Jersey, and that's what's important.
I left my heart in New Jersey.
Yeah, that doesn't work.
I'll work it out. Workshop that.
Yeah, you're on a fun trip with the missus. I just did a comic convention this week, and I met some people who've come up before on this podcast. I met Kathy Moriarty, who was in the movie Neighbors that we covered when we were on Rob Kelly's Fade Out podcast, which we included as a bonus episode here, where we covered Neighbors, which was actually John Belushi's very last film.
Yeah, wow.
Yeah, and I got to talk to her, and she's also featuring in a film that we've discussed doing in the very near future. I don't think we've revealed that one yet, so maybe we'll save that
no.
the show. That's the one we're doing next week, right?
I believe so. Yeah, we'll talk about it. We'll keep that we'll keep that under wraps.
We'll keep that on the down low. But I talked to her, and she had like kind of bittersweet memories about Neighbors, because a couple times they kind of knew the film wasn't really going to work. So
yeah, I mean, guys, listen to our episode of it if you when you can. But yeah, I mean, it was a very troubled shoot. The director and Belushi clashed on many a topic, and the end result is not the best.
It's a comedy. It's not especially funny. But I didn't actually meet in passing one of the stars of another comedy that we've covered on the podcast. I just saw Chris Gethard wandering the floor.
Hey, nice, Chris Gethard.
Yeah, and I was like, is that? And I was talking to somebody else, and I was like, excuse me, Chris. And I was like, is that Chris Gethard? And I approached him, and I was just like, excuse me, are you Chris Gethard? And he was like, yeah. And I just talked to him. I said, I co-host a podcast called the SNL Nerds. We cover movies with SNL alumni, and we covered one of your movies. We covered Don't Think Twice. And he was like, oh yeah, that's a good choice for it. And he was just very nice, very friendly. He was with family, so I didn't want to disturb him further. But and my phone was dead at the time, so I couldn't even get a selfie with him. But it was cool.
Yeah, no. From all accounts I've heard, he's a pretty cool dude. Of course, a Jersey native, born and raised. He's pretty much the Prince of New Jersey. He champions New Jersey every chance he gets, and he's done a bunch of shows in the Jersey area. Comedians that we know have worked with him personally and opened for him, and they all say the same things. Like, yeah, dude's a really cool dude, really chill, hilarious guy, and he's very proud of being a New Jerseyan.
Yeah, and I said, is there a particular reason you came out here? And he was like, I'm a comic fan, and so didn't get to geek out with him in a big way, which I would do under normal circumstances, but he was with family, so again, didn't want to take up a whole lot of his time. But it was a nice, very brief, 2-minute encounter.
Yeah, no, absolutely. That's great, man. Wow,
so that was fun, and it was a good but busy and somewhat tiring weekend, as con weekends often are.
As they are wont to be.
Yeah, but it was good. I hadn't been to a con in about gosh, over 6 months. I think like since October when I went to Baltimore. So yeah,
Oh,
this was fun.
wow.
I was due.
Okay, all right, that's great, man. Get your con on, as the kids say.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah. So,
Very nice.
yeah, that's about it. You were saying there was a bit of SNL news that maybe we should talk about.
Yeah, just a little thing. So, when we recorded our last episode, guys, go back and listen to that. I
Hmm.
just kind of hopped on Instagram, and Twitter, because I'm addicted to social media, and
Yeah.
I happened to stumble upon a few pics of a wedding that happened, and sure enough, looks like Mr. John Higgins from Please Don't Destroy, he got married last weekend.
Oh, yeah, that's nice. Yeah, I believe I did see that briefly. I was on a quick scroll, and I was like, oh, that's cool. So,
Yeah, I was on Twitter, and I think I saw somebody post pictures of the other Please Don't Destroy guys, Martin
uh huh.
and Ben, giving like a best man speech at at some
Like
bar
as
that
a duo.
I believe so, yeah, and like
Okay.
they were doing it at this this barn, how they people have weddings at barns now.
I've heard tell. Yes.
Yeah, so I was like, oh, that's interesting, and it's like, oh, they're both giving a best man speech. Could it
Oh.
be that maybe John's getting married? And then I went to John's Instagram, and yeah, he put on his stories that he did in fact get married over the
Mm-hmm.
weekend. Yeah, I saw some other SNL alums there. Chloe Trost was at the wedding. Sarah Sherman. Dismukes was there, and I
Mm-hmm.
believe like Longfellow, JAJ, and I think Alex English was there too, and maybe Molly. But yeah, but
So
it was
we
like a
should
big.
assume that anybody who was not at the wedding is actually their enemy.
Yes,
Is what you're saying.
exactly.
Yeah.
You heard it here, folks.
Right.
Higgins and Keenan hate each other's guts.
Bad blood. Yeah.
That's right. Don't even
Yeah.
bring up his name in his presence.
Yeah.
He will leave.
So.
It's like, don't you dare talk to me about that motherfucker. Yeah. So congrats to Mr. John Higgins.
Yeah, yeah, and congrats to Father Groom Steve Higgins, who's also written for SNL, and he's now on. I believe he's still on the Jimmy Fallon Tonight Show. So
Yeah, I believe it's like he's still a announcer and I want to say producer, but I'm not 100% sure about that.
let's say producer. Yeah.
Let's just let's just bestow that title upon him.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Okay.
So,
All right, but
well,
yeah.
okay, well, yeah, yeah, that's neat. That's neat. So we're here to talk about. I went very Kermit the Frog there. We're here to talk about the
Very
movie
nice.
Bombshell from 2019. And no, I'm not going to do the entire episode like that. But it's
Aw.
yeah, this was out about 5 years ago in 2019. It's got Charlize Theron as former Fox anchor Megan Kelly, Nicole Kidman as former Fox anchor or host Gretchen Carlson, who is from Fox and Friends, and she had her own solo show. We have Margot Robbie as a fictionalized composite character named Kayla. We got John Lithgow and Roger Ailes. And the reason we're covering this movie is it has Ms. Kate McKinnon in there as, I think, another sort of fictionalized character.
Yeah, both Margot Robbie character and Kate's characters are fictionalized.
Yeah.
But yeah, this movie came out December 13th, 2019. Directed by Mr. Jay Roach, who's probably best known for the Austin Powers movies and the
Mm-hmm.
Meet the Parents movies. Yeah, he seems to be one of those directors that's also like kind of taken a quick turn, a comedy director that's taken a turn towards drama. Like it seems
Yeah.
like the Todd Phillips did it, and the Farley
Adam McKay did it.
brothers.
And yeah.
Yeah, Adam McKay. It seems to be a thing now. Like comedic directors are like kind of going the serious route.
Yeah, they're
But
like, I want to show my serious side.
yeah,
I'm a person. I've got political opinions. I've got depth. I'm gonna
yeah.
show it to the world.
I want to get that Oscar.
Yeah.
Yeah. So it was directed by Jay Roach, written by Charles Randolph, who
Mm-hmm.
is best known for writing The Big Short and
Okay.
Love and Other Drugs. It makes sense that he wrote The Big Short because I mean we'll get into it, but yeah, like the first. I would say that the first 20 minutes of the movie felt very Big Shorty to me.
I
You
still
know what I
haven't
mean?
seen The Big Short. It's on my list of films I want to watch. It's like I feel like I want to watch this because I want to know more about this very complex topic, and I want to feel like a good citizen. But it's also
See,
a
I
very easy type of film to not get around to.
yeah, yeah, I get it. It is like one of those films. I don't know what the rewatch value is of it. Like you just
Yeah.
kind of watch it, and you're like, okay, I see what happened, and then you just kind of put it
Hmm.
away. Like, and I watched it. I still don't understand how the whole financial crisis happened.
I get
I'm
lost
not a
very quickly on that sort of
yeah.
things. I mean,
Yeah.
I am a poor man, and I'm just like, oh, I better save up to buy that second belt. That's my investment.
Someday, no more using rope for me.
Yeah, that's
I'm gonna
right.
have a real big boy belt.
Yeah, one of the best lines in The Producers is, "Look at me, I'm wearing a cardboard belt." But yeah, so this movie was all about the uh, allegations of sexual harassment at Fox News. It's largely centered on Roger Ailes, who is the guy who ran the network, like I think from its inception right up to 2016. And but they hit on some of the other things. They talk about Bill O'Reilly's issues in that area. Um,
O'Reilly.
I'm sure Rupert Murdoch has done some scuzzy things along those
I
lines. It's just ooh.
I just assume they've all done scuzzy, scummy things.
Yeah, I mean,
It's all slimy and gross.
yeah, it just kind of shows that this was just sort of part and parcel of the culture there, and it was largely accepted. I mean, I watched this and I felt like I had to take a Silkwood shower after, just like, ooh, no, it's so creepy.
Yeah, no, it is. Like I mean, we they get into it in the show in the movie where like yeah, it just seems like everybody there, well, everybody kind of knows what's going on, but no one wants to speak up and say anything about it. Like they even talk about how one of Roger Ailes' practices when he gets you know a woman to when he's like interviewing her for a on camera position, he literally says, "Hey, give me a little twirl," and
Yeah,
it's
yeah, get up
it's a
and
visual
spin for
medium.
me. And
Yeah,
yeah, so
and
it's like basically he can, uh, you know, check out her body and,
yeah, I think
I
at
mean,
one
because
point, yeah, at one
yeah,
point, Megan Kelly, because like that's the reason I thought it felt a little like The Big Short, because like in the beginning part, like Megan Kelly talks directly to the camera and like talks to the audience, sort of like a narrator, and like kind of
hmm
gives the lowdown on Roger Ailes, what he's about, Rupert Murdoch, who's on the eighth floor, and so like when
hmm
somebody says eighth floor wants to see you, they're referring to him, and like she
hmm
also said the one thing about how Roger Ailes makes it a point to show off a woman's legs on camera, and like that's the
yeah,
reason that they
like
have clear desks.
yeah, and Charlize Theron as Megan Kelly is narrating a good portion of the early part of this film, and yeah, she's like, why do you think they had clear desks? So you
Yeah.
could check out the legs, and they showed like Roger Ailes calling a control room and saying like, cut to a wide shot, we want to see her leg. I hired her for a reason,
Oof.
and it's been a long standing joke about Fox News is that they have all of these very similar looking blonde hosts, and that obviously seems to be his thing.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's I mean, and it's to the point that I mean, the three leads in this movie, Charlize Theron, Nicole Kidman, and Margot Robbie, they are all very pretty blonde women, and,
Yeah.
and Kate McKinnon's blonde as well, and she's playing a behind the scenes character, and
Yeah.
actually so is Margot Robbie. She wants to be on air, but she never quite gets there over the course of the movie.
Right. I mean, she plays like a fictitious character, Kayla, who's sort of a amalgam of a bunch of other
Yeah,
people that have worked at Fox.
composite
And,
character.
composite. That's the word.
Like,
Look at.
like,
Thank you,
like
sir.
some things happen to one person, some other things happen to another person, and then they mash them up into one super person,
Right.
and so all sorts of things happen to this one person, and then they can give them like a fictionalized character arc, and they don't have to be 100% loyal to the truth, and they can show Roger Ailes being super super creepy, and they're like, it's all okay because it's a fictional person. So
Right. I mean, yeah. Well, I mean, we'll get to that, but like the scene, or you can talk about it now. But like the scene
yeah, sure.
where Margot Robbie goes in to Roger Ailes' office saying, like, I really want to be in front of the camera, and
Hmm.
the things he makes her do, it's
Yeah,
quite
and it's
unsettling.
so insidious because he's not so blatant as to say you have to perform sexual acts on me if you want an on-camera position. He says things, but the implication is very clear. It's like, well, if you want to go further in this company, you have to prove your loyalty. And he's like, well, why don't you go think about it, and then we'll meet again, and you'll tell me what you've decided.
Yeah.
So again, the implication is clear, and they refer back to like an earlier lawsuit that another woman had within Fox News that happened years earlier, and it's an interesting scene where her male supervisor, he's like, I'm hiring you for this position, congratulations. She goes like, oh great, I'm so excited. And he's like, but before we make this official, we should talk. Like, you know how I feel about you. And
Mm.
you're hearing the woman's inner monologue, and she's like, and she's just sort of deciding how to navigate this in real time, and it really puts you in the woman's head. And
Yeah.
it's,
Like,
for a guy, we don't have to, we are not in these situations very much.
no one's Proposition B
Right.
for work.
Right. Because that's still just sort of, the way things go. It's usually, man makes them her first move, woman says yes or tries to turn them down politely as possible, because you never know when a man's going to creep out or go psycho on you, and it's
Yeah.
ugh.
It's a bummer that when that women have to do that. They have to like fucking walk on eggshells because of a man's fragile ego.
Yeah, yeah,
It's
and
it
just
sucks.
and just because they don't know if there's going to be a turn, and it's just like, ah. And yeah, and I totally get it. It's got to be fucking exhausting and infuriating, and all those things to just navigate that on a daily basis. And it's just like, just treat them like people. Just don't be a douche. Don't be a creep.
Yeah, like can we do that? Can we just do that? Treat them like
I think apparently not. We cannot do that.
ugh, uh, yuck.
Yeah, yeah. So let's see. Yeah, I mean, this movie starts in 2015, shortly before like the Republican debate for the 2016 election, and it's like kind of a lead up to Trump. And like something that's also very interesting is that though we have actors playing real people, they also occasionally cut to genuine footage from, I think, a few Fox News broadcasts and like a few media appearances on other places. So you occasionally see like the real person on camera.
Yeah. I think they did that for like O'Reilly and Trump and like a few
Yeah,
others. So they're really kind of melding reality versus kind of movie magic
yeah,
reality, I
yeah.
guess.
And you see that in a few other movies. I remember Man in the Moon did it. Like you saw,
Right.
or no, like American Splendor did it. The movie about Harvey Picar.
Oh
Um,
yeah, that's right.
yeah,
Oh wow,
like you
I've seen
occasionally
that.
saw the real Harvey Picar in there, and it's always an interesting blending, and it really like kind of ups the ante for the makeup and hair and costuming people, because if you're seeing the real people, it'll throw you out of the movie if they look too different from the actors that are playing them, and they did a spectacular job
Mm.
on Charlize Theron. She looks eerily like Megan Kelly in this
Yeah,
movie.
can we talk about that? Like how the makeup, like they went above and beyond to make
Mm-hmm.
Charlize look like it is unsettling almost at points where it's like it really does
Mm-hmm.
look like you're talking to Megan Kelly. Like it's
Yeah, and I'm looking
wow.
at her in the movie, and I can sort of see Charlize Theron in there, and she doesn't look like Charlize Theron wearing prosthetics, and I'm assuming there were at least a few subtle prosthetics.
I think
Um,
so. I think it was like with the chin for
uh
the
huh.
most part, and also
Yeah,
like Charlize kind of is. If in the movie she kind of speaks with like a deeper voice than I'm used to her hearing,
yeah, she had the voice down too,
so I was like
and
impressive.
I think you know Nicole Kidman. Did we? I don't know if we ever saw the real Gretchen Carlson. Like, honestly, I don't watch Fox News really, so I get all these people mixed up.
Yeah, no, I avoid. Fox News like the plague. So like all these
Yeah.
people that they have coming on, like I was like I don't. I mean, I kind of know what they look and sound like, just kind of through
Hmm.
like osmosis or like when the Daily Show makes fun of them. But
Or the
like
parodies that we see on SNL. You
or the
know.
parodies, exactly. But like like when they had the guy doing like Bill O'Reilly or Sean Hannity or Janine Pirro, I was like, or Kimberly Guilfoyle, I was like, I kind of know what they look like, so I guess it's a good
Yeah.
impression.
Yeah. And like, so a lot of the names were familiar, and we had like some famous people playing some of the other Fox News hosts. Like Alice Eve pops up. Jennifer Morrison is like a former Fox host who's been sort of relegated to local news.
Yeah, Trisha Helfer pops up as Allison Camerata. I was like,
Yeah. Yeah. And just,
and
I
yeah,
mean, wow.
yeah. I mean, the biggest surprise, Richard Kind as Rudy Giuliani. I was,
Yeah.
I was like, what?
I didn't know that was coming. I was like, is that fucking Richard Kind? And I mean, I'm always happy to see Richard Kind. Richard Kind is fabulous, but I was like, wow, that's really interesting casting. And
It's a choice. It's a choice.
yeah.
Yeah, that's the thing about this movie. Like, you do see a kind of a lot of celebrities, not celebrities, but like a lot of
Mhm.
pretty well-known actors just pop up
Yes.
as someone famous. Like Connie Britton just
Hmm.
pops up as Roger Ailes' wife, and then Rob
Hmm.
Delaney pops up as Gil Norman. Mark
Hmm.
Duplass pops up as Megyn Kelly's husband. Uh,
Alan Havey is in there briefly as like a guy who was playing tennis with Megyn Kelly, and
yeah, yeah,
he gets in her face because like she's going against Trump, and I mean, yeah, it's
yeah. He's like a Trump guy. It's
yeah.
yeah. So that's it. That kind of almost took me out of it a little bit to see all these pretty not pretty well known, but well known enough. Just
Mhm.
people just like playing all these like famous folks for a little bit. I was
I,
like,
I think it's probably just a testament to like these are people who just wanted to be involved with this film and help tell this story, maybe. So yeah, you could have cast a lot of these parts with no name actors, but if you're casting a semi famous person, yeah, why not use a famous person play a famous person?
yeah, that's
So,
true. That's true.
so I get it. But yeah, it's interesting that you see somebody like Alice Eve or Trisha Helfer or Elizabeth Rom, who used to be on Out of Order, or not Out of Order, Law and Order, and yeah, they're playing what in most any other movie would be bit parts. So,
Yeah, they had the guy Tony Plana, who I think he was like the dad on Ugly Betty, and he was played Geraldo, which is
oh
fantastic. I mean,
yeah,
that's was it, they got Geraldo in this thing?
yeah, yeah. We got John
Crazy.
Lithgow as Roger Ailes. Towards the end of the movie, Malcolm McDowell pops up playing Rupert Murdoch.
I was like, this cast, my
Yeah,
lord.
it's a pretty stacked cast, right?
Yeah, absolutely, for sure.
So, but not a certainly not a fun movie to watch because it's just watching men be horrible to women for a
Yeah,
100 minutes.
yeah, that's the thing about this thing because like it is men being horrible to women, and it's also on Fox News. So it's
Yeah.
like two things that like I'm not a huge fan of.
Yeah, and apparently, like some of the criticism that this film got were some people were saying like they kind of played down the, I guess you would say, less sympathetic qualities of some of the real life women who are being played. So I
Uh,
get, I guess to make it easier to sympathize with them when they're being mistreated. Um,
I yeah, I would kind of agree with that because like yeah,
yeah,
I mean I guess that was the thing with this movie like where yeah you see these women kind of not being heard and being mistreated and sexually harassed, which is horrible, which I'm totally
hmm,
against.
yeah,
And but then they also work on Fox News and that where they sort of spread all these horrible things that are kind of dividing our country and ripping up our democracy,
yeah.
which I
Like,
also don't like. So
yeah.
where do I
There's
stand
this
with this
quote.
movie?
There's this quote from Simran Hans of The Observer. He gave the film 2 out of 5 stars. He wrote, "What happened to these women is appalling. That the film takes such pains to sand down the politics of its central characters to make them more sympathetic undermines its entire thesis. Making Kelly's racist attitudes are smoothed over, while Carlson's homophobia is conveniently erased." And I'm like, yeah, okay, that's a point. I see that. I see that.
Yeah,
They do briefly get into the Megan Kelly Santa Claus is just white, he just is, and she got a lot of bad press for that.
yeah, that was So I was like,
I
why?
remember.
Why did you say this? Like, no, I've hung out with Santa Claus on many occasions. He is.
Yeah,
It's like, really, really.
it's
He's a fictitious character. He's made up. Go on.
okay. Well, agree to disagree. Um,
Sorry, I'm sorry. I don't mean to. I'm sorry, kids. If any kids listening, I didn't mean to. This is how you find out
yeah,
that Santa Claus isn't real. But
yeah. But
you know,
okay, well,
sorry,
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 kids.
sorry. I dropped
Aaron
that.
just ruined Christmas.
Sorry, I dropped two truth bombs.
Yeah.
Kaboom. Sorry.
Darren's getting too real.
Yeah,
So,
fair and balanced.
yeah, yeah, yeah. And I remember, like, when this film came out, I expressed some interest in seeing it, and my friend Frankie said, like, yeah, I can't, I don't have it in me to sympathize with people who work for Fox News. And I'm like, yeah, I get that,
Yeah,
I get that.
yeah. Because I mean, when this film came out, like I, I think it did okay with
Mhm.
ratings and critics
Reviews, yeah,
reviews and whatnot. But I know like financially it didn't do that great. Like
yeah. It only made like $30 odd million, I think.
yeah, I think I had a
So
well, according to this, I had a budget of 32 mil and made like 61.4, which is
okay,
decent, but yeah, it's still like people weren't really running to see it in the theaters. And I mean, I get it because well, I mean, they also said that a reason it might have not done that well is because like around this time there was that documentary that came out about Roger Ailes. Like all this stuff came out
right.
about Roger Ailes like after he passed away.
Yeah,
And
because he was let go from Fox in 2016, like right around the time of the Republican National Convention, and then he passed away in 2017. And he's obviously having health problems throughout this film. He's very frail. He's using a walker.
right.
He's he's compared to Jabba the Hutt. Things are probably not going well for you if you're being compared to Jabba the Hutt.
No, yeah, I would, yeah, I would maybe look into Jenny Craig or something.
Yeah, yeah, and
Mm.
uh, let's see. Oh yeah. Here's a nice phrase that's in my notes. Apparently, one of the internal phrases at Fox News was, "To get ahead, you've got to give a little head."
Ugh.
That's how charming is that?
Yeah,
Uh,
delightful.
yeah, that's the answer is none. Not charming at all.
Yeah,
And it's just like just passively accepted by all these people. It's just
yeah,
humans are horrible. Men in
we
particular.
yeah, really are the worst. But yeah, so this movie came out, and all right, according to Wikipedia, the box office results were seen as a disappointment, with The Hill saying that the presidents of other projects about Ailes, such as the documentary Divide and Conquer, the story of Roger Ailes, and the Showtime series The Loudest Voice, had lowered the demand for a film on the subject.
Yeah.
Forbes also noticed that audiences likely do not want to quote, shell out movie theater money and time to watch a film about women being treated terribly by powerful men, especially, generally speaking, women. And
And honestly, that makes sense because a film like this, it works just as well on DVD or streaming as it would in the theater.
yeah, for sure. And also, I mean, also, I thought it's kind of a movie where, like, if you're on the left and progressive, you won't really want to see it just
Yeah,
because it's about Fox News and you don't want to hear that.
yeah.
But if you're on the
And if
right,
you're a true believer of Fox News, you don't want to see it because it's
yeah,
criticizing Fox
all
News
the
and the culture there.
yeah, you think, oh, it's Hollywood woke version of lib cuck whatever buzzwords they
Yeah,
use.
yeah,
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 so like if people on the left aren't going to see this movie and people on the right aren't going to see this movie, who's going to see this movie? Like
yeah,
libertarians?
yeah. I mean, but again, I think it's an important story to be told
It is,
because
it is. But
we should believe women, hear women's stories on this sort of thing, and hopefully work towards a society where this sort of shit does not happen.
hopefully,
Um,
hopefully,
so yeah, this is a not very funny episode of the podcast, is it?
yeah. Maybe we should do comedies.
Well, let's talk about Kate McKinnon a little bit. We haven't talked about her much, and she's the reason. Like, I mean, so she can't Kate McKinnon. So okay, Margot Robbie's character Kayla, she is working production. She's like associate producer or something on Gretchen Carlson's solo show, and she wants to move up at the network. So she has an opportunity at Bill O'Reilly's show, Um, and she's like, I'm going to take this opportunity. And that pisses off Gretchen Carlson because she's like, you're not being loyal.
Right, because Gretchen Carlson was basically she was taken off of Fox and Friends as a
Right,
co-anchor because of all the sexual innuendos and whatnot. She kind of had to
right.
deal with on camera, and of course
Because
she complained.
obviously, when someone complains about being mistreated, you transfer the person who's being mistreated.
Yes, of course. That's how
I mean,
that's how these things work.
that's how it should be done. The people who are doing the mistreatment shouldn't suffer any consequences, especially if they're men, right?
Yes, think about what they go through. They must
But
be so hurt.
yeah, but but and in Margot Robbie's first meeting for the O'Reilly show, she says like she starts out by saying like, "Well, I heard this thing on the Rush Limbaugh show that perhaps we can do something with," and we see Kate McKinnon kind of scrolling notes to Margot Robbie on her notepad, saying like, yeah, don't do this, don't you're making a mistake.
Yes. All right, because I think it's like a whole thing with O'Reilly and other people.
Mm-hmm.
They're not really
Yeah,
cool, so you gotta. So she doesn't know how to navigate the Fox News
right.
landscape just yet.
Like O'Reilly apparently viewed Limbaugh as a direct competitor. They're like, you can get ideas from stories from these sources, but not from these. And she kind of briefs Margot Robbie. She's like, you want to frighten people, then you want to titillate them. If it horrifies your grandmother and enrages your grandfather, that's a Fox News story.
Oh
And
god, it's so sad.
and and they strike up the friendship. We see them go out drinking together, and they end up in bed together. Even though Margot Robbie's character early on says like, "I'm an evangelical Christian,"
Yeah,
and we don't know if like she's just presenting herself as that, and she isn't really, or
I
maybe she just met the right person. It's vague on it.
yeah, because like after they hook up, she says, "I'm not gay," but
Right.
I don't know.
Yeah. Yeah, it's like and you don't know if this is a lie that she's telling to Kate McKinnon's character, or if it's a lie she's telling to herself, or if it's just the thing that she feels she needs to say.
Right,
And
and
then,
and
and then she's like, Kate McKinnon, you have 2 Hillary posters in your
right,
kitchen.
yeah, and
Why
then
is that? And Kate McKinnon's like, well, because I played her on SNL for several years.
Heyo, and live from New York.
Yeah,
Yeah, Kate
yeah,
just looked in the camera and said that during this movie. I was like,
yeah.
"What?"
That was weird. That was a weird break of the fourth wall.
Yeah, you hear Lenny playing the sax. I was like, "Wow."
Yeah, yeah.
Okay.
But yeah, no, we find out that Kate McKinnon's character is a closeted Democrat who works for Fox News, and Margot Robbie's like, that's weird. Why aren't you working for MSNBC or somewhere like that? She's like, well, I tried. I sent applications everywhere, and Fox News is the place that took me. And I'm still searching for other jobs. But now that I've worked for Fox News, those other places don't want me. So she's kind of stuck.
Yep. So, yeah. So the people that work for these news organizations, they really don't even believe what they're saying.
I mean, the implication is a significant portion of them do. And
Yeah, but
I
some
mean,
do,
there are, of
some don't.
course, like true believers like Janine Pirro or
Oof.
people like that who are all like Trump, rah rah. They're like passing out Team Roger shirts at one point,
Oh yeah, that was.
and they're like, "Put this on."
That looks so weird that I feel like that had to have happened. That seemed
It's
like
like, yeah, it's like too weird of a detail for not to be real.
yeah,
Yeah,
like somebody just put this T-shirt on, show your loyalty.
yeah, yeah.
Like yikes.
Yeah, so Kate McKinnon's character, she's like doubly closeted. She's like hiding the fact that she's a lesbian. She's hiding the fact that she's actually a Democrat and supports Hillary.
2 closets.
Yeah, 2 closets, no wedding.
Yes.
and uh, Margot Robbie, she's at least I guess at least bi, but she's also she kind of is thinking like I'm gonna do what I have to do to get ahead here.
Yeah, I don't. I thought. I mean, I thought it was an interesting scene between the two of them. I don't know if it was really necessary to the story, but like I thought it was. All
Well,
right, it's a nice little.
honestly,
Or
that
is
was
it?
one of my favorite scenes in the movie because it's just two people being real with each other,
Mm.
and there's a nice chemistry and a rapport between them, and it was nice seeing them just be human for a while.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah. Yeah.
This is
It
true.
was nice to have a scene of people not being horrible to each other. It was a
Yeah.
nice break in the movie.
Yeah, that is true. It was nice to see that.
Yeah, and I think by this point Margot Robbie had hosted SNL at least once, so I think she already knew Kate McKinnon. And they have a nice chemistry together, honestly.
Yeah, Margot
So
Robbie is seems like a pretty cool person. Like very, she has a good sense of humor, and she's pretty down. She seems pretty down to earth too.
yeah, yeah. I mean, there's a reason she's been so successful. I mean, she's stunningly gorgeous, but she's also a very very good actor. Um,
Crazy.
yeah, and she's great in this movie, and apparently she's nice to work with as well. So
Wow, how
I,
about
I
that?
enjoyed the Margot Robbie, and she's a great
Yeah,
Harley Quinn. I'm just going to throw that out there.
yeah. Margot Robbie, if you ever want to come on the SNL Nerds podcast, you are more than welcome.
Yes, yes, we will stay 20 feet away at all times.
Yes,
Yes,
absolutely. Why 20 feet? What? Okay, maybe I don't want to ask.
that's what the restraining order says.
Oh dear, that's what I thought.
But I'm obeying the restraining order. That is my point.
No, I said I'm going to stay 20 feet away.
Yeah,
Okay.
voluntarily. Yes.
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Very good.
So yeah, there's also like a super creepy scene where Kayla goes in to see Roger Ailes alone in his office, and it's one of those corporate things where they're like locking the door, they're pulling the blinds.
Yeah, this scene was. I mean, it was a objectively, it was a very good scene. But yeah, it
Oh
definitely.
yeah, no, it's very well done, and it does what it's supposed to do, which is make you feel for this poor woman and be majorly creeped out by Roger Ailes. So in that regard, it's a good scene, and that it does what it does, which is creep you the fuck out.
Yeah, it's because so basically we see Roger Ailes saying things like, "Hey, give me a twirl, let me see your legs," and
she's like,
him
okay, yeah,
and him justifying it by saying it's a visual medium. It's a and
then he's like, could you hike up your skirt a little more? I want to see your legs, and she's already wearing a short skirt. It's like somewhere above the knee, and she hikes it up a little bit, and he's like, more, and she is hiking it up so far you can see her panties.
Yeah, and I think and even his voice gets like a little bit more like I can't even do it.
It's disgusting to even recount it, and
yeah,
I read on the IMDb trivia. Like the number one item on there, it says the scene where of real character Roger Ailes asking the fictitious character of Kayla I can't say the last name, to lift up her skirt was filmed with multiple cameras capturing all the angles at once. Jay Roach didn't want Robbie to have to perform that scene for more than one take, which that speaks well of Jay Roach.
Yeah,
I'm going to give that a like on the
because like that he could very easily could have very easily turned to a Roger Ailes situation where he is like
right,
one more time, one more
yeah,
time.
and if you don't shoot it right, it's it's like a scene out. It's like the beginning of a porn film or something, or it's like area can get very male gazy. But they kept it largely focused on how it was making her character feel.
Yes,
which is I think absolutely what you should do.
Yeah, so. No, absolutely. But yeah, it's a powerful scene.
Yeah.
I mean, it might also be very kind of triggering and uncomfortable for people who maybe have unfortunately gone through that. But it's definitely
true.
But it's a powerful scene. You can't deny it for sure.
Yeah. I mean, that's exactly how you should depict things like that. It's disturbing as hell.
Yes, so. Absolutely. And so but also Gretchen Carlson, Nicole Kidman, she also did a good job in this film too. In the film, she's later fired because they say they let her go for her on-air support of the federal assault weapons ban, and sort of
they show her like sort of making a statement against it, and then she's like, well, let's see what the viewers have to say, and then it's like 86% don't favor the assault weapons ban. She's like, okay, well, that's what makes America great, is the diversity of opinion. And
ain't that America?
So she gets fired for basically not towing the party line, but she's not given cause, and so she decides to sue not Fox News but Roger Ailes specifically.
Right, because with all the issues she's been having with being harassed on air, her lawyer said that, well, if you're gonna, you can't sue Fox News because like you'll never win. But I
Right.
think they were able to find a way to, they could sue Roger Ailes directly in the
Hmm.
state of New Jersey, the great state of New Jersey.
Yes, because he lived in Bergen County, and it's like, oh, hey, great, New Jersey got the worst possible shout out, yay!
Hey, we did it.
we're close to Bergen County, so
So like through that sort of,
yay!
yay, I guess you're welcome, America. Eh?
Yeah.
But yeah, so through that sort of loophole, she figured out, okay, now I can sue him, and now I just need to get more and more people on my side behind me who can corroborate
Right,
my story and whatnot.
right, right. And gradually other women come out. There's a scene towards the end of the movie when like Megyn Kelly finally decides to kind of speak out about her experiences, and she's like looking at the deposition that she's giving, and she sees how she's listed in and she's like, wait, am I witness W? W is the 23rd letter of the alphabet. Are there 22 other women who have come forward? And they're like, yep.
Yeah,
And not just
20.
about Roger Ailes, about Bill O'Reilly and
Yeah,
other people. I mean,
the
it's
whole the whole deck of cards, house of cards
House of Cards.
comes.
Yes.
So the whole thing of cards comes tumbling down because originally Megan was staying silent on this after
Hmm.
Gretchen came forward saying that she was suing him for sexual assault or sexual harassment rather. And Megan was pretty silent on it, and a lot of people took that silence as kind of damning.
Yeah.
And and of course we talked about like Guilfoyle and Janine Pirro specifically. There was a scene where
Yeah.
Janine Pirro was getting in Megyn Kelly's face and like, you need to stand by your boss.
Yeah.
He ain't do nothing. He a good man. And all. I'm sure Janine Pirro didn't talk like that, but that's in my
Did
mind.
you kind of regret that Janine Pirro was not played by Cicely Strong in this film?
Oh, totally. Oh, I didn't even
Yeah.
think of that. Damn it.
I mean, I get why they didn't because you don't want to turn it into an SNL sketch. It's a serious topic, and you don't.
It is. Yeah, that's true. But
Um,
still, I would have
but I
been
was just
nice.
like, I still kind of wish it was Cecily because she played
I
that character to a T.
Yes.
And honestly, Cecily's capable of doing straight dramatic roles too. So
Yeah, no, absolutely for sure. And because Megan's that like her not defending her boss immediately was seen as a sort of
a
betrayal
betrayal.
by a lot of
Yeah.
people. And they also show early on in the movie how Megan Kelly had like a lot of issues with Roger Ailes, especially after her interview with Trump, and how like she was getting all these death threats from people, and
Yeah.
Ale really wasn't stepping up to defend her. They were like, "Oh, just deal with it. They'll go away. We don't want to rock the boat.
Yeah.
Murdoch likes Trump, so And so it was like, it's like a thing where, like, when Megyn Kelly kind of needed help, Roger Ailes wasn't there, but now Roger Ailes is in trouble, and everybody's telling Megan to immediately defend him, and
Hmm.
it's just like this. What are we doing here? What are we doing here?
Yeah. Yeah. So,
Oh,
wow.
oh, I know this is quite an
It's an
episode.
intense film. I mean, I was expecting to be an intense film. It's still, yeah, you're not fully prepared. Um, so there's a cute line at one point where Margot Robbie comes in a particular dress, and Kate McKinnon goes, "Oh my God, it's Anger Barbie," and which is kind of funny because a couple years later she plays Barbie in a movie.
Wow,
So
foreshadowing.
foreshadowing. Um, but yeah, we have Megan Kelly. She confesses that Roger Ailes harassed her 10 years before. We've got
Yeah,
Allison Janney as a lawyer. We got Richard Kind as Rudy Giuliani. The movie almost becomes like a spy thriller at this point because there's
yeah,
all this paranoia and lots of people creeping around hallways and stuff.
yeah. Like that. I think this is where the tone kind of changed a little bit because, like in the beginning,
Hmm.
like I said, it did feel a little bit like The Big Short, where
Yeah,
a lot of the celebs are looking right to the camera, kind of explaining what goes on. But then it kind of switches to, I don't know, maybe it felt like the newsroom or like the morning show. It felt a little bit
yeah.
more.
It starts out a little more satirical than it gets, and it gets more serious as it goes on.
Yeah, for sure. And then
There's
also
there's a Go ahead.
well, and also I was gonna say they also kind of they play up the fact that Roger Ailes was very kind of paranoid and he believed
Yeah,
like a lot of conspiracy theories, which I mean that's Fox News. But I think
yeah,
when he was also talking to his lawyers about the Gretchen
hmm
situation, he believed that like maybe somebody in the White House, like the Obama White House, was trying to kill him or something
yeah.
like
He's
that.
like, I don't know the extent of this, but yeah, I'm being targeted by the Obama White House, and yeah, it's
And the
just
lawyers
like,
are like, okay,
okay, well,
um,
we'll look into that.
you know.
Thanks for that.
We'll just put this on
Oh,
my bill.
do you remember that scene? It was like towards the end where they show like all these anchors, these female anchors in the dressing room, and they're like putting on Spanx,
Yeah, it looked
and
like a pageant, like a beauty pageant show.
it's like they're squeezing themselves into Spanx so they can like look good in the tight dresses that they have to wear. We see them like putting on these like ultra high heels and that are, you know, fucking up their feet. They're like, you know, the backs of their heels are like kind of rubbed raw, and you know, it's like, oh my god, yeah, this is something that you see backstage at Miss America pageant or like waitresses at the old Playboy Club or something.
Yeah, that's where we see Alice Eve as Ainsley Earhart.
Right,
We see Brie Condon as Kimberly Guilfoyle. Yeah, like just all these
right.
kind of all these Fox News pundits, female pundits that just pretty much look the same and have sort of
Yeah,
the
and
same.
they're kind of expected to look like beauty pageant contestants because you know they have to be ultra pretty in addition to being Fox true believers. It's just it's something else. I mean,
It is really insane, like how that's just how like I mean, if this happened like in the, I feel like if this happened like I mean, I'm sure it did happen like in the 50s or the 60s,
hmm
people now would be like, oh, that's so disgusting. How could they do something like that back in the day? And they're doing it
yeah,
now, and it's fine, and no one
yeah,
says anything
yeah.
about
In
it.
in the 20 in the 2010s and the 2020s.
This is madness. This is
Yeah.
madness, bruv.
Um. So yeah, we have there's a nice scene with Jennifer Morrison as Juliet something with an H. I didn't write down the last name.
Juliet Huddy.
Thank you. And she's like worked at Fox for 14 years, and then she's been basically exiled to local news for 2 years because she kind of like dared to speak out against what was happening to her, or she just suddenly fell out of favor or whatever.
Right. That's where Gretchen goes to her, and she finds out that like O'Reilly did something to her.
Yeah, I think she was the person that Bill O'Reilly called up in the infamous falafel call,
Oh my god.
where he like he's at like I think it was a Republican convention, and he calls up the producer that went with him, female producer, and he's like calls her up at 11 at night, and he starts describing all the things that he wants to do to her, just out of the blue, and he mixes up a loofah and a falafel, which is objectively hilarious.
That what?
I mean, that part that he mixes up those two things is hilarious. That what he did to the woman,
I'm
not
sorry,
the
my brain
loofah.
shut down. I totally
Yeah,
forgot about that whole thing. Like
yeah,
loofah and a falafel. How do we
yeah.
even? Oh, Bill.
I guess neither one were words that he was terribly familiar with. He is, Bill O'Reilly, not a bright man.
That's right.
Uh,
I don't use those foreign words. I use American words.
yeah, and he was another one of those guys from settling. He had to settle for like literally millions of dollars, and then he gets his own golden parachute for
Yeah,
millions of dollars, and
and he doesn't. No one learns anything, and everything's fine.
yeah, it's
And
like
welcome to America.
they almost come out ahead of the deal because they get so many millions of dollars for yeah.
America. No,
They're getting
we gotta
more
make.
money than the victims.
Yeah, we got to make this funny, John. We got to make this. We got to make this light. We got to. You can't.
Okay. Loaf and falafel. That's all I got right now.
Okay. All right. There we go. There we go.
We have Kayla, Margot Robbie's character, calling up Kate McKinnon, and she confesses that she actually had sex with Roger Ailes because she felt she kind of had to. Her back was against the wall. She had no choice.
Yeah, because I mean, at first when it happens, that whole incident we described earlier, she wants to tell Kate McKinnon's character Jess,
Yeah,
but Jess stops her saying like, "I think the less I know, the better. So don't,
yeah.
please
So
don't."
she's like, I don't even have this much of an ally, and
Yeah, that is rough.
and when she calls Kate McKinnon, I'm just going to keep calling her Kate McKinnon if that's okay. Um, uh, Kayla is like, oh yeah, I'm on a date right now, and we just see a man waiting in a restaurant. So it's like, again, is she like in denial about her sexuality? But you know, the Kate McKinnon character is like the one person she still feels that she can trust, and they are kind of allies in a way. At one point in the movie, she's like, "You should put away that photo of you and your college quote unquote friend that's at your desk.
Oh right, yes, they do
You
that.
don't want people to know." Because that gives them ammo, and like at Fox, they say at one point in the movie they can't even really call HR on this stuff because all their calls are monitored and taped, and there are cameras everywhere and
So
stuff. And oh, it's so creepy.
it's like this is disgust. Why is this going on? Why is this continuing to happen? Why is this
Yeah,
going on?
it's
I
like a
just,
police state or something. I don't.
yeah,
Yeah,
this
it's
is.
just yeah.
I can't put your
Yeah,
I just turned to Adam Sandler. Happy job,
yeah,
put your papa.
yeah. Um,
But yeah, so then, but I think also we see that six women also do come forward
yeah,
saying that
Roger.
Roger Ailes, sorry, harassed them, but before before he founded Fox, and then that's when we
Right.
see like this little montage of, I, I'm assuming the actual women that have these
Well, they
stories
show
again.
faces and they're not recognizable people, and yeah, who knows? I don't know. I don't know if you I are if they're public figures. I think it's fair game, but if they're private citizens, I think you'd need their permission to use their likenesses. But that's my understanding. But maybe I'm wrong.
Yeah, yeah,
Uh,
I think so.
but we find out towards the end of the movie, there's sort of a gotcha moment where, like as the 2016 GOP convention is going on, um, we find out that Gretchen Carlson taped her conversations with Roger Ailes for over a year,
Bam.
and he's like, "Well, why didn't she release the quotes before this?" And they're like, they wanted until they didn't release them until you positively denied it because they wanted to destroy your credibility. And it's like, boom, that's the gotcha, that's the smoking gun,
Boom goes the
and
dynamite. Yeah, and
yeah,
and that's it. Then Roger is out,
yeah, yeah,
and
and this is when they bring in Malcolm McDowell as Rupert Murdoch, evil billionaire extraordinaire.
yeah, and they
Um,
have his sons, Lachlan, and what's the other?
let me scroll up. I have them listed here somewhere. Well, they were played by Josh Lawson and Ben Lawson, who are brothers in real life. That's kind of
Oh,
neat.
yeah. All right, yeah.
Um,
James and Lachlan.
James and Lachlan. There are no Democrats named Lachlan. I'm going to wager.
I've never even heard
That's
that name before. Lachlan. First.
Lachlan. I don't know if it's an Australian thing. I don't know if it's a Republic thing. I don't know if it's just an incredibly weird and outdated name thing. But it's a weird name.
It's I'll say unique. I'll say that.
Yeah, yeah. Um,
But yeah, so basically,
I don't want to go so far as to say that every Lachlan is an asshole, but I'm betting a lot of them are.
apologies to our Lachlan listeners out there.
I don't know. I feel like if you're a Lachlan, there's a good chance you're an asshole or you're being raised by one.
Yeah, like that. If you're named maybe Brett or Trent, those aren't.
We know a nice Brett.
We do.
We do.
Oh, okay. Oh, that
Stand up
Brett's cool.
comic.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Yes. Oh, right.
Yeah.
Yes, he's nice. Okay.
We've had game nights with him. He's nice.
Oh, right. Yes. Oh, shit. Yes, he's cool. All right. Yeah. My bad.
He's friends with Matt.
Shout out to Brett. You're a okay, man.
You're one of the good ones, Brett.
You're one of the good Bretts. Yeah.
Hashtag not all Bretts.
Yes. Brexit. I don't know.
Okay, we went too far.
Okay. But yeah. So after it came that Gretchen taped all these conversations, you know, the boom is lowered. Roger is
Yeah,
out.
yeah, and you get a slight indication that maybe the culture at Fox News is changing a bit. Like earlier in the movie, they have the women are like there's this kind of scramble for them to put on pants to kind of disprove the allegations that they're all required to wear short skirts. So it's like, oh, I'm wearing pants because I'm a serious person, and there's a bit towards the end where there's a woman who's like walking down the hall in a pantsuit, and Fox News producer Neil Cavuto says, "Hey, pants," and the woman just goes, "Fuck off, Neil." And I was like, "Yes,"
Got him.
you know, because people telling people who work at Fox News to fuck off. That's my love language. Um,
Yes, that's
Even if
exactly.
it's from another person who works at Fox News. I'm not picky. As long as a person who works at Fox News is being told to go fuck themselves, I'm a happy person.
That's yes. That's how I spell joy.
Yes, yes.
But yeah, I mean, you think the things are gonna turn around, but then Rupert
Mhm.
Murdoch goes down to the bullpen at Fox News and makes an announcement saying, Roger is out.
Right.
I will be running the network interim with Bill
Yeah,
Shine. And then earlier
yeah.
in the movie, we see that Bill Shine had a moment with Kayla where he was trying to say some
Oh,
not great, inappropriate things.
yeah.
So Kayla sees this
Can
as
can
like,
you be more specific as to which inappropriate thing that was? There are so many they almost blend together.
I don't even know if I had the strength to write it down. I think,
Yeah. Okay. Okay. I was just wondering. Because honestly, I mixed up some of the dudes too. There are a lot of like middle-aged white dudes in this thing, and like if you were casting this as a purely fictional movie, there's no way you would cast like three blonde lead women. You know,
yeah, no, for sure.
you throw a brunette or a redhead in there, just in the interest of us being able to tell everybody
Yes,
apart.
to mix things up.
But because we're dealing with a lot of real people, there's a lot of we have to do the very Aryan looking Fox News.
Oh my god, very much. Yeah, absolutely.
Am I
But yeah, like
wrong?
you're
Am
not
I
wrong.
wrong? Okay.
You are not. But yeah, like I forget what he said, but like I do remember it was a scene they had where, as they were talking in a closed room, he was closing the blinds. So
Oh yes, yes, I remember that early on. Yeah, and you're just like, oh fuck, what's gonna happen? Is there like gonna be some Matt Lauer shit that's going on, or
yeah.
yeah,
So now that guy is going to run Fox News with Rupert Murdoch, and
Rupert
Kayla
Murdoch,
said,
the OG evil billionaire. Yes,
"Yes,
it's him
exactly."
or the Koch brothers. I don't know who came around first, but Roger Ailes goes back a long ways too because they say early in the movie like Roger Ailes. He like worked for the Nixon administration. He worked for the Reagan administration. He's the guy who apparently came up with the town hall style debates,
Yeah.
which I
So
didn't realize that. And I was like,
yeah,
oh, okay, well, that's
yeah. So all the
interesting, I guess.
yeah, so all the not great presidents, Roger Ailes, he got him there.
He had to do something with it. Yeah, so he's been an operator from way back, and
Way, way,
whew,
way.
yeah, it's
Ugh.
just how deep does this go? Okay, yeah, it
Goes
goes
all the
all the
way
way
to the
down.
goes all the way to the top.
It goes subterranean. It goes so deep.
Goes almost to the Earth's core, right to the mantle.
Yes, well, like there are mole people in this movie. It goes so deep.
Yeah, exactly.
You're just like, there's Shirley Theron, there's Kate McKinnon. What's that mole person doing there? And it's just like, oh, that's Bob.
Yeah,
It's we went subterranean because we're so low.
yeah, he's an extra.
He's an extra. Oh, there's just a mole person with
But yeah,
mole
so
things and glowing
yeah,
eyes.
yeah. So Kayla sees this. She's like, "Oh, it's gonna be more of the same," and she walks out and quits. Like she like tosses
Yeah,
her.
she doesn't even tell anybody I quit. We just see her walking out in the middle of Murdoch's speech. She tosses her employee ID into the trash, and you hope she's going to a better place.
Hopefully, maybe. I mean, I don't
And
see. That's the thing. Like, I don't know if this. So now that she sees how this all operates, like, is
mhm.
she a liberal now, or is she still have some of the same values? But
I don't know. I mean, because like the beginning of the movie, she's identifying herself as an evangelical Christian. So
right,
going from evangelical Christian to MSNBC employee, let's say, or something like that, that's a long way. And she's a fictional character, so who knows? I mean,
yeah,
she
exactly.
basically stops existing after this movie. So maybe she's just working for the Republican agenda elsewhere. Maybe she becomes a big lefty. Whatever makes you most happy, I guess.
That's true. Choose your own adventure, write your own ending.
Yeah, yeah, exactly.
Yeah,
Keep
and
believing, keep pretending.
the lovers, the tree, and and at the end of the movie, they show that Fox paid out $50 million to the
Hmm.
victims, and
Right.
Ailes and O'Reilly got $65 million as in severance. So, which is more. That's
You
more,
know,
John. That's more.
that is 15 million more if I'm doing the math right.
Yes, I crunched the numbers. You are
Yeah.
correct. Uh,
So got a
uh,
lot of Oscar nominations. We got a Best Actress for Charlize Theron. We got a Best Supporting Actress for Margot Robbie. It won for Best Makeup and Hairstyling for Kazuhiro, Ann Morgan, and Vivian Baker. So those were the people who were responsible for making Charlize Theron look more like Megyn Kelly. And I was reading uh, that Kazuhiro actually came out of retirement
oh
for this
wow.
film, and
One.
he'd previously made Gary Oldman look like Winston Churchill when he played
Oh,
Winston Churchill in a biopic. So
it's like I got one more job in me.
that's interesting. And
After.
apparently he did such a good job that many fans were thinking that it was Elizabeth Banks playing Megyn Kelly.
Oh,
You know,
interesting.
who I think Elizabeth Banks might be the one blonde lady in Hollywood who is not in this film.
Yeah. Hmm.
Yeah.
That is interesting that they didn't just get, or maybe she couldn't do it, or she didn't want to do it.
Well, I mean, I love Elizabeth Banks. She's great. Charlize Theron's a bigger name,
Yeah, fair.
you know.
That's a fair
And,
enough.
and I think this was her project. I think she might have been a producer as well. But so
Okay.
yeah, yeah. Let's see. It says here it was brought to Charlize Theron's production company with the intention of her producing and possibly starring in the film. Once Theron decided to star as the real character of Megyn Kelly, Margot Robbie and Nicole Kidman were her top picks for the roles of fictional Kayla Pospisil and the real Gretchen Carlson, respectively. So yeah,
Okay.
and apparently like this movie even raised Margot Robbie's consciousness a bit because it says here um, she revealed that she didn't fully realize what sexual harassment was until reading the script. She says one of the lines that shocked me was when I first read the script was that sexual harassment includes any unwelcome sexual advances. She told the Herald Sun on Saturday. I always thought it required physical contact for it to be considered illegal or wrong. That really shocked me.
Hmm.
Margot said that recognizing that such harassment did not have to be physical, but also be verbal, prompted her to join the film. So,
All right. So
I
some.
mean, even Margot Robbie learned a thing or two on this, and it's, like, yeah, some people do stuff out of ignorance. Some people do this stuff just because they're creepy, malicious pervs.
Right. Some
But
people do because they know they can get away with it, and it's just
yeah, I mean,
gross.
for a lot of people, I'm sure it's a power thing instead of a
Yeah.
sex thing. Like they discuss it, because apparently, like Roger Ailes, like one of his go-to things was, he liked the oral sex, and they
Oh,
were like, oh, it makes sense because it's like a power move. He doesn't have to get undressed.
don't have to get up.
He doesn't even have to get up, and perfect for like a toad-like man in a position of power.
Yeah. I don't mean to laugh, but yeah, it's
Look,
yeah.
they literally compare the guy to Jabba the Hutt, and
Yeah, that's true.
you see the movie and you're like, yeah, that tracks.
That does track. That does
Um,
indeed track.
here's an interesting bit of trivia. It's Charlize Theron's screen time clocked in at 37 minutes and 16 seconds, making it the lowest screen time for an Oscar-nominated performance in the lead actress category of the 2010s.
Oh,
So
nice, nice.
she,
Okay.
put in less than 40 minutes screen time, still got an Oscar nod. That's
Bam.
nice going, Charlize.
That's how good she is. She's good
Yep,
with it. Yeah, and
kicks
also
ass.
according to Wikipedia, so I guess the big thing is people were wondering what Megyn Kelly thought of all this.
Oh
Uh,
yes, there was a bit of reaction to her from
uh,
her.
yeah, so in January of 2020, Kelly posted a 30-minute video on her YouTube channel of a roundtable discussion, including her, Huddy, Bakitar. Uh,
Bakhtar. That's the woman who we're hearing her inner monologue at the beginning of the film. The dark haired woman. I think one of the few dark haired women in the film, where
yes.
she's like, "Oh, please just say we're friends," and like, "Oh, thank you," and but I don't want to see your hotel room. I don't want to come up to your hotel. And
Oh, right, right,
movies.
yes, okay.
Yeah.
See, Bakitar Brunt and former news producer Julie Zahn, and
Uh-huh.
their reactions and opinions after viewing a screening of the film. The panel confirmed many details depicted, including having to do the spin to show off their bodies to Ailes in private. Zahn tearfully noted,
Yeah.
"Yeah, that was a real thing."
Yeah.
Zahn
I'm
tear-
I'm just going to be scrubbing myself furiously as you read the rest of this because it's unclean, unclean.
water soap. Zahn tearfully noted that reality was worse than that, and that filmmakers let Roger off easy.
Yeah.
Kelly took particular issue with the scene where Robbie's character blames Kelly for not speaking up, calling the scene victim blaming and noting that the scene was written by a man. However,
Yeah.
she
Okay.
also,
I can
however,
see that.
however, she also noted that the scene belongs in the film as a reminder to herself that she could have done more to help other victims. She also felt
Yeah.
the film took liberties with her story and specifically denied that she told Murdoch the question she was going to ask Donald Trump in advance of the debate, or that Ailes liked the question. The notion that Roger liked the Donald Trump woman question because it created controversy and a TV moment was not true. Roger did not like that question at all and was very angry at me for asking it. At one point, he actually said to me, "No more female empowerment stuff."
So he was horrible in a multitude of ways.
Yeah, he was he was a villain. He
Yeah.
was like the worst.
Like, yeah. Um, he's
But
dead
yeah,
now.
yeah,
Um,
yep. So there's that.
I wonder. Yeah, she says like the filmmakers let Roger off easy. I'm sure when you're doing a film like this about real people, you don't want to get sued, so you got to probably vet the stuff you put in the film very carefully. And
Yeah, I think that's why they because they don't want the
yeah,
heirs of Ailes or like
yeah,
children or I don't know if his wife's still alive or his whoever coming down
yeah,
and say you can't say that about my papa. I'm a sue and whatnot.
yeah, and yeah. So I'm sure you have to be like very careful that it's stuff that you can prove, or that
Absolutely.
stuff that multiple people have testified to, or you got to source this stuff.
Yep, for sure.
So,
But yeah, but yeah. Overall, that's the movie. What do you think of the movie overall? Overall thoughts?
well, I mean, disturbing. It's not the sort of movie you can say you enjoyed watching. I don't know if I'm ever going to revisit this movie because usually when you revisit a movie, it's because it's fun. It makes you feel good. It makes you forget about the problems of the world. And this is the type of movie that um, reminds you of the problems of the world, and not unnecessarily or anything like that. Because I think it is you should make movies like this.
Yeah,
Um,
absolutely.
I mean, I thought the performances were good. I thought it was very well done, very well crafted. Um, it gets a little hard to follow at times because it's depicting mostly real situations, and reality gets very messy.
Oh, it does.
Because you're like, wait, which person was this again? Oh, okay, okay. There were a lot of scenes of tense elevator rides. I remember. I
Yeah,
think the initial trailer of this movie, it was just like the three main women. They're riding in an elevator together up in silence because they've got problems with the culture at Fox News. They've got problems with each other, and it's just like all tense and um,
yeah. Like I remember, like
yeah,
when the trailer dropped, everybody was that was the trailer. Just the three of them quietly, pensively staring at each
yeah,
other in an elevator, and everybody was like, "Oh my god, look at Charlize! She looks exactly like me. This is weird."
yeah,
Uh,
yeah.
yeah,
And it's like there. I don't think there was even any dialogue in that initial trailer. It's just their acting and like a bit of music score, and you're just like, ooh, wow, this looks intense, whatever it is. And you see that scene in the movie, and you have a bit more context for it. It
yeah.
was
No, it was definitely a good trailer. I will say that.
Yeah, yeah, terrific trailer. Immediately intriguing. I'm glad I finally saw it.
Yeah,
Um,
it's. I mean, it's definitely
yeah.
like
Wait,
a.
what about you? What did you think
I think for
overall?
the most part, I didn't love it, but
Hmm.
I thought it was interesting. Maybe I'll say that. Yeah,
Yeah,
like it was interesting to see this sort of dynamic and like what what
yeah,
what women have to go through in the workplace. I thought A lot of good acting in it, a lot of good acting scenes in it.
Yeah, some
The
great
whole way,
performances. I mean,
yeah,
I'm
yeah,
glad it was made. I think it's good you signal boost these types of stories and stuff.
yeah, no, absolutely for sure.
Like Men in particular, we got to hear about this shit, and we got to hear about like, oh yeah, you know, this is horrible stuff that happens. This is not okay. This is why it's not okay. And if you find yourself have ever done this sort of stuff, you should change your behavior. So yeah,
Yeah, yeah.
yeah.
Overall, interesting movie. I thought very
Mm-hmm,
interesting.
mm-hmm.
Okay, and I think that's the episode. Oh, we should also mention
That's it.
we got a tweet about it. We put out
We
the
got a
word.
comment from one of our regular followers, Manette Marati. Um, we asked people for their thoughts and comments. She says, "What sticks with me is Kate McKinnon's character admitting that she's put herself in a situation where she cannot change careers because she made a choice to take the job out of desperation." Yeah, so that's the thing that Kate McKinnon says. She's like, Fox was the only place that took me, and now no one else will take me because I've worked at Fox. So she's really stuck. And that continues. It's the one line that snaps me back to reality when I see a posting for a conservative news-based job on LinkedIn during my employment search. I keep instinctively saying unemployment. Uh, Makes me remember my morals supersede my desperation and how it will ultimately hurt me in the long run. Wow. Yeah.
That's pretty on point. Like I understand. Like I
Mm-hmm.
get uh, Kate McKinnon's character. Like look, you got bills to pay. You got to do what you got to do.
Mm-hmm.
But
Yeah.
at the same time, you also want to have a job where you're happy working there, and you're like you can be proud of. Like you don't want to be somebody who's anti-gun working for like a gun company or somebody.
Right.
Like
And
some like
it's
you know.
yeah. I mean, I've certainly had day jobs that I have hated, um, and it is just an emotionally, spiritually draining experience because you're just like, oh fuck, I gotta go. And like they say in Office Space, most people don't like their jobs, but if you feel like you're working for some place that's like actively making the world a worse place, that's got to be horrible. Yeah, and I certainly wouldn't want to work at Fox News under any circumstances. Um, Darren, are you still there? Fuck, 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 fuck. We were so close.
Hello.
Darren.
Yeah. Can you hear me?
Okay, we cut off a bit. It looks like the Wi-Fi just cut off briefly here. What
Okay.
was the last thing you heard me say?
Uh, you were talking about how you had jobs that you hated.
Okay,
Because like I was talking
okay,
about, like you want to work at a place that you like being at, that
right.
you're morally you're okay with.
Okay, let me back up a little bit and talk a little more. Just like repeating some of what I said, just in case. I don't. I think because I'm still recording on my end, it probably got it okay, but I'm paranoid. So let me just back up and continue that thought a little bit, if that's all
Okay.
right.
Yeah, go for it.
I mean, I've certainly worked jobs that I've disliked, and like they say in Office Space, most everybody doesn't like their job, and honestly, every job involves a certain amount of drudgery. But when you're working for a place that you feel is actively making the world a worse place to live in, or if it's just against your core beliefs, that's got to be even worse. And yeah, the Kate McKinnon character is very much stuck there,
Yeah.
which yeah. So I feel for her in that regard. I remember like Jon Stewart during one of his debates with Bill O'Reilly, he was saying like when like the few times Jon Stewart went to Fox News offices, he said he could see like some people giving him sort of forlorn looks, like "Take us with you," because I mean, I can think of a mutual acquaintance of ours who's worked for I believe it was like the New York Post, which is a very right leaning paper, and this person did not have those beliefs, but you do what you got to do.
Yeah,
So
that's true.
yeah,
I mean, it sucks that people have to do that. Especially in
yeah,
this economy where everything's so damn expensive. But
yeah. I mean, and you don't want to compromise your principles to for a job just to pay rent or pay your mortgage or whatever. But Sometimes you're in that position.
Wow,
Yeah.
this is a real upbeat episode.
I know. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. It's so depressing. I'm trying to find like little moments of levity, but
Well, I mean, I think the biggest moment of levity is the movie we're going to talk about on the next episode. There you go. How
yeah,
about that?
yeah, I like that. And look. Also, the biggest laugh for me was probably, "Hey, pants, fuck off, Neil."
Yeah, there you go.
That made me happy. That made me happy.
Silver lining. Boom. We ended
Yeah.
it on a strong positive note. Fuck off.
Hey, pants, fuck off, Neil.
That was pretty great.
But yeah, I think we're going to do something more upbeat, more fun, more bubbly next week.
That's
So
right.
yeah,
Yeah,
so,
and yeah, so yeah, that's the episode, guys. Thanks again for listening. As always, you can follow us on Twitter because we refuse to call it X at SNL Nerds Show, and you can follow me on all these social media apps and apertures and what have you at Darren
mhm.
Credible. That's DARIN Credible.
And if you want to follow me on the social media, where I promise I'm usually more fun than this, you can find me at Trumbull Comic. That's spelled TRUMBULL and the word comic. You can find me on the Twitter. You can find me on the Instagram. You can even find me on Facebook if you know what you're doing.
Yeah, you can find me out in these streets, son.
No, no, I don't like leaving the house.
Yes, you can find me in this living room, son.
You can find Darren on these streets. I'm
Holler.
just like, no, that weird shit happens out there on the streets.
Oh, weird shit happens in the house, but
I like just certain rooms of the house.
Yeah. Nice. What's your favorite room? Go.
I mean, bedrooms are nice. You can sleep there.
Nice.
It's, I also like a room with a nice computer.
Okay,
I
good.
like going online, interacting with people that way.
Okay,
that's fun.
You a fan of kitchens at all? What are your thoughts on kitchens?
Kitchens are good. Kitchens are where food is. So there's a lot of nice rooms in the average house or apartment. I'm saying there's something to be said for most every room. Bathrooms are good.
Ooh,
bathrooms
whoosh.
very needed, very necessary.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
so,
I mean,
so that's at least 4 rooms I like there.
Of course, if you have a nice den, dens are great.
If you have a nice den, a lot of times you have a TV in the room.
Ooh.
You can watch a TV show. You can watch yourself a movie.
Hell yeah.
Movies are fun, usually, when they're not about horrible Jabba the Hutt people harassing pretty blonde women.
That's right. Yeah, so guys, tweet at us. Let us know what your favorite room is.
So we want to do something more fun, and I mean, we like Jason Sudeikis.
We do.
We like pre Ted Lasso Jason Sudeikis, where Jason Sudeikis played a lot of like sex obsessed creepy guys. I think.
That was his main role. He did.
That was like part of his brand before Ted Lasso, when he became like goodness and light and purity.
That was his MO. Yes.
Yeah, we watched Sleeping with Other People on this podcast. He was a bit creepy in that.
A little bit.
He was in that movie Hall Pass. He was a bit creepy in that.
Little bit.
We're like, what's another creepy Jason Sudeikis movie, or potentially creepy Jason Sudeikis movie? Because I don't think either one of us has seen this movie, have we?
No, I have not. I remember it coming out. I remember seeing the title. Mm-hmm. I think the title might have turned a lot of people off, honestly. But like, I remember it looked interesting, but I never saw it. So we figured, let's watch it for this. Let's watch it for the podcast. Let's watch. Mm-hmm. Let's watch a good old-fashioned orgy.
Good old-fashioned orgy. What's more fun than working at Fox News? Orgies.
There you go.
I'm assuming. I guess. Yeah. They sound fun, but they probably are also very disturbing and depressing in their own way.
Yes, of course. Yeah, it sounds like a hoot, but then after a while, you're just like, I really shouldn't be here.
Yeah,
but yeah, we got
so who else we got in here? It's a 2011 film. We got Jason Sudeikis, we got Lake Bell, we got Leslie Bibb, we got Will Forte, another SNL star.
2 for 2, bam bam.
Yeah, we got Lindsay Sloan, we got Nick Kroll, we got Lucy Punch. A lot of cool people in this. David Koechner, 3rd SNL star.
Bam, bam, bam,
bam. 3 for 1. So yeah, you ever want to see Sudeikis, Forte, and Kechter all get it on?
Yeah. Fornication.
Yeah, sure. Martin Starr's in it too.
Yeah, so let's do it. So guys, tune in next week for that. Should be a blast. No pun
It'll
intended.
be a blast. Might not be a blast. Hopefully, it won't get disturbing the way Bombshell did. But yeah, it's a little fashioned orgy next week.
Absolutely.
So,
So, yeah, I guess that's the episode.
that's the episode. We'll see you then. But until then, nerds out.
This has been a non-productive media presentation. Executive producer Frank Hablawi. This program and many others like it on the Non-Productive Network is distributed under a Creative Commons Attribution Non-Commercial No Derivatives license. Please share it, but ask before trying to change it or sell it. For more information, visit non-productive.com.